I guess tell us about who you are. How'd you guys, where you're from and how you long you've been trading, essentially.
Yeah, so I'm here in the US in Texas, born and raised here as well. I've started trading around 2014, so it's been quite some time now. A lot of ups and downs, like probably just about everybody else, but have been really grateful to the opportunity that prop firms have offered, such as Funded Elite, and just being part of a company that's reputable and reliable. It's been great so far in 2025 and 2026.
That's great. No, that's awesome to hear. I mean, did you have any struggles like earlier on, like for example, maybe pressure of the family or financial hardships, anything like that?
And I wouldn't say that. I mean, I've been fortunate to maintain a full time career while just kind of trading on the side and using free time to become a better trader, but not have to rely on trading as a only source of income. I think has helped because, to your point, there's a lot of psychological effects if you're relying on trading for to
100%.
feed
Yeah.
your family or to get by. So I've been fortunate enough not to have to go through that, but even not having to go through that, it still takes a psychological toll on you for sure.
100%. No, I agree with you there. I mean, I know too much about that already. Would you say that like the prop firm in general, or even Funded Elite, was that like the turning point in your trading career? Allowing you to actually take the next step of just becoming profitable more consistently.
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, I will say I started the prop firm journey with a company that went under. We'll throw out the letters MFF if anybody
Yep.
knows who that was. Great experience, but just I learned that you can't really, you know, rely on one sort of company, I guess, because you don't know what's going to happen. And so I kind of stopped the prop firm world at that point. I've kind of been, on the sidelines watching and looking for the right opportunities. And to be honest, the rules at Funded Elite were actually what attracted me to you all because they're a little bit stricter and they actually force you to have an edge, right, to have a real
Yep.
edge and to maintain that throughout your journey. So ultimately it might be tougher to get payouts, but I think you can trust that the prop firm has your best interest in mind, and I think it makes you a better trader as well.
I agree with that as well. Can you like explain your like strategy in like simple terms when it comes to like actually getting into the nitty gritty?
Yeah, I mean, mine's pretty simple, honestly. And trust me, I've tried just about every strategy that you could think of over the last 10 plus years. But what I've found to be the most reliable is just like a couple of key, I call them like framework,
Yeah.
key pillars of a framework, right? And the first is I like to look at currencies as an individual currency and determine like, are they strong or are they weak, kind of across the board. And you can do that with any sort of heat map that's out there. You don't need to have anything fancy. After that, for me, it's really just kind of the basics of let's look at the previous session. Maybe it's the high or the low or just significant levels of support resistance, and it's just marking key structures. Maybe it's two, three, or four different areas.
Yep.
And then my biggest kind of turning point was rather than trying to be predictive, more so reactive, right? So just because price reaches one of those levels, I don't just automatically go long or go short. I like to see what price does. And so you can look for things like, an engulfing candle or like a double top or a double bottom, and not rely on a bias. I know that's kind of the opposite of what a lot of traders do. But for me, I'm not trying to predict a certain direction. I'm just watching and seeing what's happening. And I can, kind of go back and forth on a whim. And ultimately it's just having an edge in a framework like that and
Yeah.
expecting drawdowns and periods of profitability as well, like any other strategy.
Yep. And that's where the mental part comes in as well.
Yeah.
After going through your systems and actually profiting, because I did speak to the team the other day and you did in fact get paid out today, I believe. How did that feel? Like how was, well, not even today, but how was your first payout feel? Because I know sometimes making the first dollar online is insane. I've made my first dollar online, and quite literally, it is such a surreal feeling. How did you feel? Because I know you have a full time, job as well, but making a good amount on the side for the month. I mean, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I think in one sense, if you don't want, like, you can easily use success as a way to validate, like, okay, I'm a good trader or I'm not a good trader, and that can be
Right.
a dangerous road to go down. But you do have to celebrate the wins when you have them. And I think for me, what I like about Funded Elite is the rules have encouraged me to aim for smaller payouts. Right, you're not trying to go out and hit the lottery like a lot of traders do, and a lot of traders that you see on social media. More so, it's just going for consistent payouts. And I've been trading with Funded Elite for a couple months now, and I didn't know what to expect. When I requested the first payout, I didn't know if it was going to happen or not.
It
But
was legit. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, thankfully, proper match is pretty reliable, and that's actually where I saw you all, read the testimonials, and
Yep.
I had a certain level of confidence. But yeah, to your point, a payout was actually processed and approved and allocated today, so I was pretty excited about that this morning to wake up to that.
That's insane. I love that. It was, do you mind telling the crowd how much it was for the month?
Yeah, so it was about 2,800 US dollars
Amazing. Yeah.
after the split. So it's again, it's not one of those flashy payouts that you see the influencers posting, but I'll take it all day.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that'll help for the month, 100%. Like, hands down. Now, kind of piggybacking off of that, I mean, I'm sure you would, but like, would you recommend Funded Elite to like beginners or pretty much anyone? Because I know you said we have strict rules. Obviously, there's a bunch of like ups and downs, but I mean, that's trading. So
Yeah, yeah. I would know, and I think one of the programs I think can be attractive for even a beginner is like the flash activation program, where there's a lower kind of barrier to enter the program. And I think you do have to have some sort of sense of just the basics of trading, right? But at
yep.
least even if you're a total newcomer, you're not putting a lot of your own, dollars down up front, at least. So it could be a good way to kind of test the waters, understand how you react, like from a psychological perspective to trading a challenge. And yeah, I think the rules can really help beginners not develop bad habits. I think that's a big thing with Funded Elite.
No, that's good. And did you personally do the flash activation, the $5 one?
I did, yeah, and I think
Awesome.
that's just like unheard of, really, in the
It,
industry. I've come
yeah, we were the
across.
first to do it, and it's very it's a very unique idea, but it's great. It helps a lot of people. I mean, would you say like that $5 entry challenge, like it didn't make you feel more relaxed about it? Because obviously going into things like this, you're obviously tense. You're always wondering, is this going to go right? Am I going to really profit or fail?
Yeah, I think it does. And I think it's important because I kind of mentioned it earlier, but every strategy out there, like even the best strategy in the world, is going to have a period of drawdown or unprofitability. So if you just
Mhm.
happen to start your challenge during that, negative cycle of your own strategy, then you blow money. Even if you're a great trader and you're following your rules, you can still just blow it like that. So I think this lower barrier of entry is great because you don't really have to worry about getting caught up in one of those cycles of drawdown. Because if it
Yeah.
happens, you can bounce right back and continue forward.
That's good. So would you say like if we didn't have this flash activation challenge, would you still try us out just because on prop firm match like it was good reviews and everything like that, or would you just be like, oh, kick rocks, go to another firm, just try everything?
I think I mean with the rule sets that you have in place
Mhm.
on that flash activation, if you took those and you applied them to a different form of challenge, I still would have joined. And I think also though, like just reading the positive reviews on prop firm match, gave me confidence. And I probably still would have tested the waters, but I do think that model is really attractive for sure.
That's great to hear. Okay, so going back to us, really, I mean, what account did you trade with Funded Elite, and how long did it take for you to pass? Because I know you did
Yeah,
flash
so
activation, but which one did you choose?
yeah, the flash activation 100K challenge. And I also like how you can even customize the challenge, right? You can
Yeah. Mhm.
kind of increase the drawdown or the profit target. The first one that I ever passed, I passed it with two trades over the course of, I think it was 2 days. It might have been 3 if I didn't take one on one day. But
Yeah.
like you don't need a lot of trades to pass the challenge. Now, once you're funded, I think you do have to kind of shift your mindset back to all right. Now let's kind of look at the longer term picture, and you're going to need an actual edge, which is important, I think, once you're funded. But yeah, it doesn't take long to get kind of access to the capital that funded elite can offer, and I think that's what's so attractive.
It's good. Do you plan on getting more accounts, or is this just your first one so far?
I do anticipate and I want to get more. I've had a few actually, and there were a couple where I got ahead of myself, and there's the requirement for the consistency on like your most profitable trading day. And there was a time when I was only about $500 away. I had 3 profitable trading days. I had a trade that went against me, and I just hit that tilt like
Yep.
everybody else does. And so. Uh, Still learning even after like 10 years that happens to me. So it happens to everybody. But yeah, I would love to like get fully allocated with funded elite and continue to grow.
No, that's amazing. Like, okay, so this one question is very interesting, but like a lot of people getting into this, they honestly, most naive people always expect to be successful like right away. Like this is the type of thing where it's like, oh, make a couple of trades, I'm rich, right? But how many times would you say that you actually failed before you actually succeeded in some sort of way, or like succeeded in some sort of way, actually getting your first payout?
Oh, I mean, a lot, honestly. Like, I
Exactly.
think
Yep.
yeah, I mean, you're going to fail more than you succeed, I think, at least initially. And, I think a lot of times people think they can just come into trading and, make $1 million in a year. But like, you think about the time and the effort and the money in some cases it takes for other careers, depending on what it is. Like you can't just walk into something and be successful every day. So I think you have to look at it more of a long term perspective and just know that there'll be you know like a strategy. There'll be periods where you're profitable and there's periods where you're not. And I think that's looking at it over a cycle is more important than like, hey, did I make a lot of money today or this week or this month?
Yep. It's all in the long run, quite literally, consistently as well. Now, would you say this is the first prop firm you tried? Or, I mean, obviously, there's probably more. Like, how many in total have you tried until you tried us?
Yeah, before funded elite over the last 3 years, and I mentioned that I like started and then I took a break after what happened, and then I kind of have come back
Right.
this past year, like just waiting to see if there were any reliable options. And then there's just been so much volatility in the markets that even I've kind of shied away from going all in. But outside of the first one, MFF, there's been 2 others that I've tried, and one went well, one didn't. I think for me, like finding one firm that's reliable isn't a bad idea, right? And so that's kind of what
Right.
I'm looking for, and that's what I found here. Like just you find something reliable, kind of stick to it, just like your strategies or whatever else you're doing.
Yep. If it's working, I mean, just tackle it with all you got, right?
Yep, 100%.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. And then this is going to be the last question I have for you today. And this is for pretty much any beginner trader out there. As someone who got multiple payouts already, on top of even a full-time job as well, what advice would you give to beginners trading? Now, this could be, managing your time. This could be mental. This could be just anything in general, the basics as well.
Yeah. So I think this might contradict a lot of people's opinion, but yeah, breaking news. I don't really believe in back testing because unless you back test to the beginning of time, you don't really know how
Yeah.
profitable your strategy is, right? So a lot of people will say, hey, I just tested something. I back tested it for 6 months. It was profitable, but they didn't go back to the previous year or the previous 5 years or 10 years, right? So
Right.
I would say don't get so caught up on back testing. Like just start, like forward test, right? And I love how Fund Delete again with the flash activation program. Find a framework that works for your daily schedule. Maybe it's only trading within an hour after work or an hour before, but just find a framework that gives you 1 or 2 things to say. Okay, this has occurred during this time. Let's take the trade with confidence. Just do that, and I think over the course of 6 months to a year, you might have a couple payouts.
Yeah, that's awesome. And would you say like what advice would you give, just like about mindset, mentality wise? Because a lot of people tend to
Yeah,
overthink this, and
yeah,
that overthinking always messes them up, of
yeah.
course.
I
So,
mean, I would just say try not to get distracted by what you see on social media, because there's always kind of like two sides to every story. You know, you see big flashy numbers, you don't really know how
Right.
profitable the traders are. So just focus on your own profitability and start small, and try to just scale over time, like any other business, right? It's going to take time and money up front, but if you stay at it day after day, I think over the long term, you might see some pretty good success.
Awesome. I love to hear that. Well, thank you though. That was actually an amazing blast of questions because I know we had, we had unlimited time.